who really scored points against the president, or one of them did. They all sound alike in the media. What evidence do you have that mail-in voting doesn't work? We've had it in Florida and other places. We've never had tens of millions of people flood the system, collapse the system on mail-in voting, and that's exactly what the Democrats are up to. So let me give the media some evidence from the media. Here's a piece in Just the News. 500,000. By my calculation, that's 500,000. Incorrect absentee ballot applications sent across Virginia, including to dead people. Look at this one. Nevada sent more than 200,000 mail-in primary ballots to the wrong addresses. Wow. By my calculation, that's now 700,000. 84,000 mail-in ballots disqualified in New York City primary vote. Wow. Every state. California rejected 102,000 mail-in ballots because of mistakes. New Jersey, all mail-in vote debacle is a warning for November. So, here's one. Developed countries ban mail-in voting. U.S. would be laughingstock. Most developed countries, especially in Europe, ban mail-in voting to fight vast fraud and vote buying. Now, if you're in the media, how do you miss these things? How do you miss these things? Because you're liars. That's how you miss these things. If you don't mind, I'd like to hit these executive orders because Nancy Pelosi is very upset that the president signed these executive orders at his country club. Should he have signed them in front of her $25,000 freezer at her winery? Would she prefer that with her ridiculous class warfare? The president is trying to and now will get money to people who are suffering, their families. They need their unemployment compensation. He's trying to protect renters. Democrat governors have shut down this economy from sea to shining sea. And they like it both ways, the Democrats. They want to lock up everybody like we're lamb in cages, and then they want to complain about the economic consequences. It ain't going to cut it. And then they say, this president, look what he's doing. Let me tell you, payback is a bitch. You remember Obama with his phone and his pen? Well, apparently he left his phone and his pen, and President Trump picked it up. Remember what he said? If the Republicans don't act, he's going to act on his own. And we have DACA, a real piece of legislation. And by the way, the Chief Justice of the United States doesn't seem to have any problem with this. So the President of the United States wants to reduce the tax burden on working Americans, and that includes Democrats. He wants to make it possible for people to pay their rent, and he wants to make it possible for people to have some food on the table. And Nancy Pelosi, what was their priority? They want to destroy the electoral system. They want open borders for illegal aliens. They want benefits for illegal aliens. And they want all of America to bail out New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and California's pension systems. And meanwhile, their biggest supporters, the teachers' unions, are like Orville Faubus and George Wallace, standing in the school doorways, not allowing our little kids to go to school because they won't follow the science. Right, Dr. Fauci? Follow the science. Follow the science. Well, the science says open the schools. But the Democrats won't. Why? Chaos. Chaos. Go ahead.
You are hitting everything, and that is why we love having you. But let me come back just for a moment, because people may have forgotten you ran the DOJ under Ed Meese back in the day, and your sit-down...
I didn't run it. I was chief of staff.
Chief of staff means you were running it. The sit-down you did with Attorney General Bill Barr is so important this election because of the pandemic, and you talked to him about the issues with mail-in voting. Let me play a clip and get your thoughts on the other side.
The goal was to have you up there and try and treat you like a piñata. Absolutely disrespectful. What were you thinking what that was going on, and what do you make of this? You've been Attorney General twice now.
I think they were afraid to have me speak, and so they decided to burn up all the time and not give me any time to answer. So I quickly caught on to the tactic.
And what do you make of the change of the whole nature of hearings now? I mean, they accused you of being a murderer, a terrorist. I was getting nervous that somebody might grab a Molotov cocktail from behind the table and throw it at you. What do you make of this?
Well, you know, I have the perspective of having been Attorney General 30 years ago and now, and I thought things were partisan and tough 30 years ago. Nothing compared to today. Things have fundamentally changed. And I think what has happened, and I've been thinking about this, because you know, in the old days, you could have friends across the aisle. You know, politics was part of your life, but it wasn't all-consuming. It wasn't everything. You could, you know, have communications and so forth with others. But it's now become all-consuming for many people. And I think what's happened is that the left wing has really withdrawn and pulled away from the umbrella of classical liberal values that have undergirded our society since our founding. And within the family, we've had two ways of resolving disputes. One is discussion, the dialectic, the marketplace of ideas, trying to arrive at the truth. We had an idea that there was some truth to arrive at. And then if we couldn't reach agreement, a vote. And that's how we operated. Nowadays, you have, I think the left has essentially withdrawn from this model and really represents a Rousseauian revolutionary party that believes in tearing down the system. That what's wrong about America today all has to do with the institutions we have, and we have to tear them down. And they're interested in complete political victory. They're not interested in compromise. They're not interested in dialectic, exchange of views. They're interested in total victory. And it's a secular religion. It's a substitute for religion. They view their political opponents and as evil, that because we stand in the way of their progressive utopia that they're trying to reach. And that's what gives, the intensity to the partisan feelings that people feel today. Because for them, this pilgrimage we're all on is a political pilgrimage. Everything is reduced to politics. For people who don't have that perspective, politics is important, but it's not the whole purpose of life.
Do you think this sort of Rousseauian ideology, or Hegelism and that ballpark, do you think it has devoured the Democrat Party in the last couple of years now? And does that explain why, during this hearing and in other opportunities, they will not condemn the violence? They will not condemn Antifa. Ted Cruz had a hearing the other day. One of the Democrat senators would not condemn Antifa. Do you think that's part of it?
Absolutely. I mean, I said during my hearing, can any of you just come out and say it's not okay to burn down federal courthouses? I mean, they talk about the rule of law. They talk about the importance of the federal legal system to protection of civil rights. Well, the heart of that is our court system, and they're not willing, not one of them piped up to say, no, it's not okay to be burning down federal courts. Why? Some of them are true believers. Some of them are essentially revolutionary in their outlook. They believe in tearing down the system. But many of them are just cowards who are mostly interested